Good morning, everybody. So glad to be back with you here. 6 a.m. I'm Eric Connert.
I'm Stella Escobedo. Let's get right to our top story. This morning, the U.S. is focusing on getting people out of Afghanistan.
The White House says there are around 11,000 Americans in the country, as well as thousands of others trying to leave now that the Taliban is back in power. Bradley Blackburn joining us live now from New York with the latest. Good morning, Bradley.
Eric, Stella, good morning. American military officials say they're now picking up the pace of those evacuation flights. They are on track to airlift as many as 9,000 people a day out of the country. And the U.S. is now negotiating directly with the Taliban to try to ensure safe passage on the ground in Kabul to the airport.
The Taliban is taking steps to form a new government after reclaiming control of Afghanistan. Yesterday, a spokesman for the group announced an amnesty program for officials of the country's previous administration and anyone who worked with the U.S. He also said the Taliban would allow women and girls to work and go to school. He said females will have rights as defined by Islamic law.
Ultimately, it's going to be up to the Taliban to show the rest of the world who they are and how they intend to proceed. The track record has not been good.
U.S. officials say their immediate priority is the evacuation of American citizens and allies from the country. U.S. troops have secured a section of the Kabul airport, but there have been reports of gunmen blocking the roads leading to it.
We have received assurances from the Taliban that they will allow safe passage to civilians transiting to the airport. Let me just be very clear about this. We take it for what it is. These are the words of the Taliban.
Last night, President Biden returned to the White House after cutting short a vacation at Camp David.
This is an unforced error, and it is a painful lesson that we've learned that what happens in Afghanistan does not stay in Afghanistan.
The Biden administration has already announced it will conduct an internal review of the decisions leading up to the military withdrawal and the Taliban's resurgence. It promised to make the results of that review public.
The White House says the G7 will meet next week to discuss the situation in Afghanistan. Right now, few, if any, world leaders are officially recognizing the Taliban as the legitimate rulers of the country. And guys, some world leaders have said they have no intention of ever doing that.
Bradley, what do we know about where those evacuees are headed now?
Stella, we know the U.S. is approaching countries around the world asking them to take in refugees, and at least 22,000 Afghan allies and their family members could be headed here to the United States. Housing is being prepared at 3 different military installations around the country to get ready, and that is in Texas, Wisconsin, and Virginia.
Bradley Blackburn, thanks so much for that report. And some Afghan refugees began arriving in San Diego last week. Organizations like Jewish Family Service and Catholic Charities have been helping families find places to live and get settled in San Diego. This morning, the second debate in the state recall election is in the books.
One frontrunner did not show up while another dropped out of the race. News 8's Chris Groh is in the newsroom with a recap of that, as well as the federal lawsuit that's challenging the recall election. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. Look, a lot to break down right now, but we're going to make it as simple as possible to follow along. Let's start with the fact that, again, as you pointed out, one of the front runners there, conservative talk show host and radio host Larry Elder, not there. And it's been something that has happened even in the last debate. Wasn't there. And now the 3 candidates that we did see on stage took some shots at Elder.
Elder should be here to defend his positions, but he's not, because I think many of those are absolutely indefensible. When he said that women, quote, no less than men, that they are easier to, quote, manipulate, and that he believes that it's okay to discriminate against women, including pregnant women, in the workplace. That's
I sure wish Larry were here to defend that position, and he should be.
Take a chance on change, see if things improve.
And you heard Assemblymember Kevin Kiley there making that push there to Democratic voters to basically saying, look, we're only going to finish the governor's term. Give us a shot. Now, also on stage, as you saw, former San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer and businessman John Cox. Now, all 3 candidates were asked a variety of questions. Topics range from homelessness, wildfires, the economy, to pandemic response. And they didn't just take shots at Larry Elder, but also Governor Gavin Newsom, the person that they are trying to differentiate themselves from. but they also had to differentiate themselves from each other. That is something that moderators were pressing them on, especially since there are more than 40 candidates that voters have to try to pick between if they vote yes or even no on that first question. Look, the election is less than a month away, which is why a federal lawsuit calling for the election to be called off seems to be a Hail Mary play. It argues that the ballot is set up in a way to create an unfair advantage for Newsom's opponents, like the ones that we saw during this debate. Political analyst Wendy Patrick had this to say about the suit.
The momentum has been growing for this recall election. We have seen the numbers increase over the last several months, really in favor of perhaps actually recalling the governor.
And of all the ways to start a debate, how about this? A very bizarre moment. John Cox, again, former gubernatorial candidate from 2018, also a Rancho Safe businessman, served a subpoena in dramatic fashion there, as you just saw. Now, that person was escorted out of the building, but the LA Times reports that that subpoena was for unpaid consulting fees from his 2018 run. So a lot of people are wondering, though, now that we've started to see a lot of these mail-in ballots coming out, kind of where is the scoreboard? Well, according to a CBS News poll, 52% of voters say that they support Governor Gavin Newsom and do not want to see him recalled. However, 48% of voters, those polled, say that they do favor a recall. Eric and Stella.
Chris, thank you. Today, the White House is expected to unveil their next steps for a booster shot for all Americans. The White House is considering a booster shot for anyone who already got the 2-dose Pfizer or Moderna vaccines. The booster would come 8 months after the last shot. Federal officials say they're still waiting for more data before issuing guidance on the one-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
This morning, thousands of kids are headed back into the classroom. Today is the first day for several districts around the county, and that includes Poway Unified, Vista Unified, Alpine Union School District, Dehesa School District, Lemon Grove School District, San Pasqual Union School District, Santee School District, and the Spencer Valley School District. And we'll have more from Poway coming up at 6:30. And we want to see your back-to-school photos. Lisa in Santee sent us this picture of her kiddos getting all ready. So she has a 10th grader and a 2nd grader here this year. I got what now? A 1st grader, 4th grader, and 5th grader.
Wow.
A 3rd grader and 4th grader.
Wow.
I can't even keep track of all.
I was about to say, it's so hard to keep track.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to see your photos. Send them to us. Just go to the News 8 app, click on the Near Me button in the lower right-hand corner. Upload your photos or videos of your kids going back to school. Don't forget to include a message, and we'll share them on the air. And, of course, Netta is tracking the back-to-school forecast. Yay. Eric, you've got 2 boys and a girl.
Yes.
Does the girl have her outfit like all ready to go, and the boys are not so much ready?
That's a game day decision for the boys.
Game day decision.
Maybe even like right before it starts.
Yeah, I mean, they're waiting for the forecast.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what it is. They're that responsible. They want to wait for it. This is for Santee. We just had that back-to-school photo. Those kids headed to Santee. Well, as you wake up this morning, it'll be cloudy. You see one drop. There's a chance, a little slight chance for a drizzle this morning. 67 degrees to start off your day on this first day. For the district in Santee, we got Poway as well covered. So many are going back. By recess time, it'll be a little muggy. 70 degrees, though, so should feel comfortable. And then for your going home forecast, mid-70s. The clouds should clear up by then, although we do have a pretty stubborn marine layer this morning. I'll give you that heads up. Right now, it looks like we may start to see a little light mist coming through downtown San Diego, possibly into Coronado, National City area, and then throughout the morning, around 9, 10 o'clock this morning, it may work its way into North County, but all of this is really light, barely much, just enough. You'd have to use a windshield wiper here and there, but nothing too crazy, nothing too measurable. Tomorrow morning, same kind of thing, although the green does look to be a little more widespread for tomorrow. Here's the view from Mount Soledad. Not much of a view, right? We do have plenty of clouds. All of our cameras on the mountains are pretty much socked in, so you can see where the clouds are sitting at the tops of our mountains. It's 74 degrees, though, right by the coast, so it does feel pretty good to start things off. A little muggy, I do want to add that. 69 in Del Mar, 69 in Poway, 65 in Ramona. Relative humidity numbers in the 80s for a lot of areas. We're getting moisture coming in from the coast, onshore flow, keeping you cool. Visibility is just fine. And then real quick, your afternoon highs today below average, up to 14 degrees below average for Ramona.